Got some super massive beetroot from the shops the other day and wanted to make something delicious, but wasn't really sure how I was going to get there. I got an apron on to avoid any upsetting stains, peeled them down, then cut them into thin slices, as I wanted them to cook as quickly as possible. I oiled and seasoned a tray, laid them on, then oiled and seasoned again. I popped the tray into the oven to roast them until soft. By this point, I was pretty sure that I wanted to make a tart. The beetroot slices reminded me of a tartine, where super thin slices of fruit or veg sit on pastry. Pastry isn't really that deep, it's just 1 part fat to 2 parts flour, so I weighed out as much butter as I thought I might need, weighed in flour, seasoned with salt, and rubbed them together to form a breadcrumb-like texture. This step is super important because the fat coating the flour means the proteins can't form large structures like in bread. I cut in a little water with a knife as to not work the mix too much, then turned everything out, brought it together, took a little off as there was too much, then rolled what remained between 2 sheets of greaseproof paper. This is a really nice way to roll out pastry without getting flour everywhere. It also means you don't have to wait for the pastry to rest before rolling. Now I knew I was making a beetroot tart, my mind started to think about ways to protect the pastry from the moisture of the beetroot to avoid sogginess. I grabbed a few bits that I knew would inject flavour into the tart while also providing that function. To a mini chopper, I added mixed seeds and walnuts for nuttiness and texture, oats to absorb any beetroot juice, panko to do the same thing, and salt for seasoning. I blitzed to form a nice little crumb which I tipped onto the pastry. I've started making my own feta cheese recently. It's been super fun and I thought it would complement the beetroot really well. I ripped large chunks of it onto the crumb for creaminess, flavour, and a salty hum. Next, I grated over a really nice cheddar before laying on the roasted beetroot slices. I carefully brought the edges of the pastry up, creating a galette-like tart. I realised at this point I had quite a lot of crumb left over, so I brushed the pastry with egg yolk and sprinkled it over to create more texture and a layered nuttiness. While the tart baked, I grabbed a few bits I thought would complement things. For much needed wetness, I spooned creme fraiche into a container, added hot English mustard to cut through everything, and seasoned with salt. Next, for freshness, I ripped a load of herbs into a bowl, finally sliced some fennel for crunch, grated over lemon zest, squeezed over its juice for sharpness, added plenty of oil, mixed it up, and set it aside to allow the fennel to soften a little. Once the tart was ready, I cut it up and was pretty happy with how it turned out. I got loads of the hot creme fraiche onto plates, popped a wedge onto each, and finished with mounds of the salad. This was the perfect little weekend lunch from a bunch of massive beetroot.